My name is Soraima Pelaez. I'm the Outreach and Advocacy Manager at the Texas Freedom Network. TFN is a proud member of the Trust, Respect, Access Coalition, which is a collective of over 14 reproductive health, rights, and justice organizations that mobilize everyday Texans to promote policies which restore trust in Texans to make their own reproductive health care decisions, respect the dignity and the judgment of folks seeking health care and the doctors who treat them, and ensure access to the reproductive health care that all Texas families need to survive and thrive. We're here today for a simple reason. Lawmakers in this building are hell-bent on turning anti-abortion lies into very real laws that hurt Texas families. This session alone, over 30 anti-abortion bills have been filed. Yeah, boo. And that number is more than 70 in the past 2 sessions. Those numbers are a disgrace. At a time when our elected representatives should be responding to the high rates of uninsured Texans and the maternal mortality crisis that's affecting Black women, extremist lawmakers are instead choosing to focus on shaming people who have abortions, punishing women who seek abortion care, and punishing the doctors who provide that care, and pushing abortion care further out of reach for Texans. But what do we say to hypocrites and fearmongers? Not today. We refuse to grant the premise that 1 in 4 women should be charged with capital murder, as Representative Tinderholt's HB 896 would have. We refuse to stand by silently when legislators make it harder for local communities to ensure that everyone has access to the reproductive health care services they need by forcing those clinics to close and by overriding decisions of locally elected officials, as SB 22 would do. And we refuse to buy into the intentionally inflammatory rhetoric and the shame, stigma, and fear promoted by anti-abortion lawmakers in this building. We're here to set the record straight and to uplift the voices and stories of the individuals who should be at the center of this debate. Because people in Texas who have abortions deserve trust, respect, and access. And today, yes, they do. And today we'll hear the incredible experiences of 4 storytellers. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to the first of them, Erica Hawkins from Houston, Texas.
Hello. Thank you. Glad to be here. All right. My name is Erica. I am from Houston. I'm a computer support specialist. I'm a mother of 3 children, 2 teens with special needs and a 5-year-old daughter. I'm here to voice my opinion and speak out against all those who are in the business of making abortion illegal, not accessible to the women and teen girls who choose to have one. Young or old, a woman should always have the right to choose. I recall being involved in a part-time relationship. It was non-committed, and later discovering I was pregnant at 9 weeks. Let's just say that it wasn't for me at that moment, and I decided to terminate the entire mission and situation. It was unplanned. It was unexpected. It was unwanted. It seemed that I was just so sick. I was sick. I had my current children bringing me water, bringing me food to my bedside. I was throwing up. It was painful for me physically, mentally, emotionally. I became the dependent. While in the office, I remember the long wait, thinking it'll all be over soon, no matter what, no matter the pain. I would leave there without that constant 3 minutes of hunger and just the agony I was going through. I would no longer have to neglect my current situation and priorities and put myself second. Just that feeling of being stuck. I'm so thankful for having the right to choose, and even more grateful for the Lilith Fund and Planned Parenthood and these people that are standing behind the ones that are in need. Thankful for the doctors and the staff who genuinely know and understand that having a woman's right to choose is important and helpful to the woman who desires. Capital murder for abortion, that thought alone is ridiculous. Ridiculous. People should know that there are a lot of reasons women should always have the right to choose, be it domestic violence, economic abuse, or simply just because of the situation. Abortion care in Texas should and continue to be accessible and readily available, no matter the cost.
Thank you, Erica. Hi, my name is also Erica Galindo, and I am the Organizing Program Manager at Lilith Fund for Reproductive Equity. One of the leading values of our coalition is trust. We know that this is the antithesis of how state legislators are treating regular Texans and abortion providers. Legislators are treating people seeking abortion and doctors providing them with skepticism and outright hostility. This is wrong. We at TRA know that Texans and their doctors are the only people that should make decisions about their health and the growth of their families. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you H.K. Gray. She is another storyteller from Fort Worth, Texas. Give it up for her. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming and listening to all of us. My mom was in and out of jail my entire life, and my dad was my sole provider. When I was about 13, me and my dad were evicted, and me and my dad were evicted from our home, and we were living in a motel. Within about 9 to 10 months, we were basically on the streets, and he let me stay from friend to friend until I met my current fiance. 3 months after I had moved in with my fiance, I was pregnant. We excitedly brought my daughter into this world. We financially were struggling, but as a family, we're happy. We went on to move out about 3 months later, and 11 months after that, my mom was currently on the run, and my dad was still homeless. That's when I found out that I was pregnant the second time. We could not afford another child, let alone to bring the child that we already had to daycare or into good schooling, basically. I needed an abortion to provide the life that I needed for my daughter, to sustain her financially, educationally, and most importantly, independently. I looked at laws and saw that I needed parent permission that I couldn't get because of my parents and access to me. Luckily, I found Jane's due process and went through Whole Woman's Health. I went through the judicial bypass process where I met my amazing lawyer, who I still talk to this day, and went before a judge to a sit-down meeting where I was shamed and I was made to feel like having a child, including my daughter I already had, was a horrible option for a teen. He made all of my responses into twisted messages that I was not saying, and he made everything I said seem like it was ineffective and that I was just dumb and stupid and unprepared for the child I already had and the child I was pregnant with. Luckily, I was granted my judicial bypass and had my abortion at almost 15 weeks, even though I found out about my pregnancy at 2 to 3 weeks gestation. I think it's important for us to know that teen parents are able to have children or are able to decide whether or not they want to continue to have children. It's a very important thing for me to speak out about the fact that teens do not get the rights that every other woman or person that is trying to access abortion care gets, and we already know how limited it is for those people. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, todos, todas, todex. Mi nombre es Hannah Thallenberg y soy la organizadora regional de Houston con Narrow Pro-Choice, Texas. Como miembros de esta coalición, nos comprometemos a promover políticas que respetan la dignidad de todas las personas de Texas, sus decisiones acerca de su salud reproductiva y el juicio y ética de profesionales de salud en cuanto al cuidado de sus pacientes. Esta dignidad es inherente, no importa dónde una persona haya estado y aún en la condición denigrante de estar detrás de rejas. Por lo tanto, exigimos medidas que garanticen a personas encarceladas acceso a todas las opciones de cuidado de salud reproductiva, incluyendo el aborto, y refuercen sus protecciones para dar la luz sin ser encadenadas. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Thallenberg. I'm the Houston regional organizer with NARAL Pro-Choice Texas. As members of this coalition, we are committed to advancing policies that respect the dignity of Texans to make their own healthcare decisions and the medical and ethical judgment of healthcare professionals about the care each patient needs. This dignity is inherent no matter where a person has been and even in the denigrating condition of being behind bars. Therefore, we demand measures that would guarantee incarcerated individuals access to all reproductive health care options, including abortions, and reinforce their protections for giving birth free from shackles. Con mucho placer, les presento nuestra cuentacuentos, Kayla Lachey Moy. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our next storyteller, Kayla Lachey Moy. And for all future speakers, if you can speak up a little bit louder. Yes, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Moy. It's such an honor to be in my home state today sharing my story and space with you all. Thank you for having me. I am originally from Houston, Texas, born and raised, but I currently live in Cleveland, Ohio. I had my first abortion only a couple months after giving birth to my son. Like so many others, I could not afford my procedure. I had to donate plasma twice just to come up with the money to pay for it. My health care insurance didn't cover abortion care, and I knew I couldn't have another baby at that time. I was lucky. I had the support of my friends and family. I just didn't have the money. That was 5 years ago. But the barriers women face towards accessing abortion care have not improved. They've only continued to pile on. As some of you may know, Ohio just passed HB 1500, which bans abortion after 6 weeks, when most people don't even know that they're pregnant yet. But it's obvious that bills like HB 1500 and the other 30 bills filed by Texas are a part of a larger goal, banning abortion. I'm just so tired of not being trusted and respected as a woman, and more importantly, as a mother. I know firsthand what it's like to get up every day, get the kids dressed, get them breakfast, get them to school, let's not forget the dogs, and simultaneously having to get myself together for work. With Mother's Day around the corner, I am extremely grateful for the role and responsibilities as a parent. But that was my decision. I am the only one who should be able to make this decision on when I want to have a child and when I do not. And I'm sick and tired of the radical politicians not respecting my decision and acting like they know better than me what it is best for me and my family, because they don't. When I found out I was pregnant the first time, I was sitting in jail because a bad situation turned worse. I was told I couldn't have an abortion. I was denied my decision. I will never forget that through my whole pregnancy, I wanted an abortion and I was denied access to it. We shouldn't get poor health care just because we are incarcerated. Being forced into becoming a parent makes me want to be an even stronger supportive mother and advocate for abortion access. It makes me want to share my story. Not only was I denied access to an abortion while incarcerated, the health care provided to pregnant women was completely degrading and shameful. Fortunately, bills like 650 and HB 1650 offer incarcerated women the health care, respect, and dignity they deserve, things that all Texans and all pregnant people deserve. I hope the lawmakers in this building and anti-abortion lawmakers across the nation can stop for a second to see our humanity, can stop lying about abortions and what they are, and the people who need it, and respect us like the human beings that we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you to everyone who's here today standing with us in solidarity to trust those seeking abortion access, respect the decisions that they make with their providers, and increase access to abortion. My name's Camion Connor, and I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Equal Access Fund. We are so grateful to be a part of the Trust, Respect, Access Coalition. We know that this coalition is well versed in the ways in which our legislators push access of abortion out of reach for the most vulnerable. The T Fund is an abortion fund assisting North Texans in accessing abortion. Access is one of the largest barriers facing Texans seeking abortion health care today. Our legislators may feel that all we require is a right to abortion, but what is a right without access? Access can be limited by our lawmakers in so many ways, by making laws that require Texans to come to clinics 2 or 3 times to obtain an abortion. Access is limited when minors must have parental consent to obtain birth control or abortion. Long distances, over 100 miles between clinics for Texans, push abortion out of reach. Stigmatization of later-term abortion forces many Texans who are over 20 weeks to travel outside of the state to obtain an abortion. TRA is committed to educating and pushing our lawmakers to reduce harmful legislation that limits access to abortion health care. I'd like to have the great pleasure of introducing Veronica Granado from San Antonio.
Hi everyone, my name is Veronica Granado, and at 17 I had to go to court to fight for my abortion. Today I'm here to fight for young people in Texas to access their right for abortion. I got pregnant when I was 17 in high school, and I had just graduated, and I had plans to move to San Antonio for college, and I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. When I found out I was pregnant, I knew instantly that getting an abortion was the best option for me. I was about to start getting a higher education, and I knew that this wouldn't get in the way of stopping me. I was determined to get an abortion, but I didn't know how to get one. I searched up how to get one, and I found that I needed a judicial bypass, which is a process that you have to go through if you're a minor that wants to have an abortion without parental consent. At that time, I wasn't very close to my mom, and my dad was very anti-choice, and so I knew that it wasn't an option to go to them for help. So when I decided to go through with the judicial bypass and to keep my parents out of this decision. I then found out about Jane's due process, and they connected me with the Lilith Fund. I found Jane's due process, and they helped me every single step of the way. They gave me a list of things that I needed to do. They helped me get an attorney. They paid for my ultrasound, and they connected me with the Lilith Fund, which helped me pay for my abortion. They gave me a list of things I needed to do to go in front of the judge and tell them why I needed an abortion. It was very terrifying and nerve-wracking to go in front of a judge to tell them why you want an abortion and to have that fear of them denying it. Along with this, we also feel that what we are doing is wrong because going in front of a judge feels very scary and you feel criminalized. It further stigmatizes us young people and makes us ashamed to access the health care that we need. The bypass was a very lengthy process and further increased the amount that I had to pay. In the end, I made the best decision for myself and for my future. Having that abortion opened up so many doors for me rather than closing them. And now I am a student at the University of Texas at San Antonio, 2 years into my engineering degree. I know that if I didn't have an abortion, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I would be struggling to make ends meet. Deciding to get an abortion at that age is the most crucial because you have your whole life ahead of you, and it just starts with those grown-up decisions. I knew that this was the best for myself. I knew that this was the best thing for myself, not these judges or attorneys that the HB 3605 would require. And the HB 3605 would just further discourage people who are trying to get an abortion by adding that attorney who is anti-choice and whose sole purpose would be to try and shame and intimidate my choice. This bill would try and scare us and shame us even more in this decision. My abortion was the best decision that I have ever made because I got to determine my future, not the law or anyone else who tried to get in the way of that. Thank you.
se escuchen nuestras voces, que se escuche nuestro poder. I'm Claudia Yoliferla. I'm the Director of Student Outreach and Organizing at Deeds Not Words. And my story is the story of the border. It's a story of Texas, and it's one about love, it's one about dreams, it's one about choice. 18 years ago, my mother and I decided to leave everything behind to embrace a new beginning. We had just lost my little sister, and I remember how easy and simple my mom made everything seem, despite how scared she must have felt. In Venezuela, she was a lawyer with a passion for social justice. In El Paso, she was a waitress, a cook, a dishwasher, a babysitter, a school crossing guard, you name it. She was everything and anything she needed to be proudly so that I could be provided with a normal childhood despite being undocumented. It was El Paso, a beautiful binational community in the left of Texas that welcomed my mother with love. It was this community that taught her that no dream, no matter how big or how small, should ever go unattained. It was El Paso that helped her to raise me, and it was our bond with Ciudad Juárez that molded us to be resilient, compassionate, and strong mujeres. It is because of the values of the border, the real values of Texas, that I can stand in front of you as a proud feminist, a reproductive justice warrior, a luchadora, an unafraid dreamer, a proud and loud queer Latina, and a change maker. I am the product of Texas. I am a fronteriza. And when I see us, and when I see you all owning your power, I am once again reminded of the root of mine, my mother's love and my mother's dreams. And together, united en comunidad, we are here to send a loud and clear message. We are the battleground state that will tell the real story of Texas, a story of resilience and love, a story of dreams and hope, a story of opportunity. And when some members in the legislature turn lies into laws to divide us, our shared resistance and power unite us. And yes, we are rightfully angry. But because of the love for our state, we turn this frustration into action. And that is exactly what the Trust, Respect, and Access Coalition does. When the legislature tells us that our bodies do not belong to us, and when they introduce deceitful legislation like HB 16, a bill that has nothing to do with a dialogue about reproductive health care, we proudly show up and say, abortion is health care. When the legislature tells our single mothers working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet that they don't deserve paid sick days, we organize and we mobilize because we are sick of this. That's right. When some members of the legislature continue to discriminate on our transgender friends, our friends, we proudly say that trans rights are human rights. When some in this capital, our capital, embolden local police officers to act like immigration officials, and then have the audacity to tell us that our naturalized citizen relatives do not belong in voting booths, we proudly show up en comunidad to say that we are here to stay. We are here to fight, and we won't stop. We won't stop until we have a legislature that trusts Texans to make their own reproductive health care decisions. We won't stop until they respect the dignity of Texans and the judgment of healthcare professionals. And we won't stop until we guarantee access to abortion and achieve the support that all Texans' families need to thrive. We won't stop until we achieve full reproductive justice. So raise your fists up with me, because we're here to send a loud and clear message. So repeat after me. I am somebody, and I deserve full equality. Right here, right now. My mother is somebody, and she deserves full equality. Right here, right now. My daughter is somebody, and she deserves full equality. Right here, right now. I love you, Texas.
That was incredible. Thank you, Claudia, and thank you to all our speakers today. It's a pleasure and an honor to stand with you in this fight. We are going to take some one-on-ones with press if you want to after. We want to invite all the folks who came out on their lunch hour to join us for a picture too. And we also have some action items because we aren't organizers if we don't ask you to do a couple things, right? So one, Log back into the Facebook page later this afternoon, and there will be steps on how to call your legislators and which legislators to call on HB 16, which is the ridiculous bill by Representative Leach, and on 1033, SB 1033, which has just passed and is moving its way through the House. So we need folks to take action on those two bills. One is on the Senate floor tomorrow, HB 16 is, so we really need those calls tonight. And then the other one is to come stand with us for a picture. If folks would like to do some office visits, if you have time, please find one of us in the orange bandanas or up here. We can point you to the right person and the right office to do that. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for fighting. We won't stand down. Thank you, everyone.